Ladies and gentlemen, the representatives of the media, we are very much satisfied with the exchange of views and opinions on a broad range of issues of mutual interest which we just finalized. Indonesia is one of the key partners of Russia, especially in Asia and Pacific region. Last year, we commemorated 70th anniversary of diplomatic relations, and they continue to develop in a very constructive manner. Today, we highly appreciated the bilateral cooperation. We established confidential political dialogue, including on the highest level. We strengthened contacts in the areas of security, trade, investment, humanitarian cooperation, and others. We coordinate our activities in international affairs and decided today to continue to intensify all those areas of our interaction. Like my good friend and colleague said, we are finalizing a declaration which would register the existing fact that our relations are the relations of strategic partnership, and hopefully soon our leaders can meet and sign this important document. We discussed our economic cooperation in depth. We are satisfied that in spite of coronavirus infection, the first 4 months of this year saw considerable increase of the volume of trade, almost by 25%. And we confirmed our intention to continue to diversify the trade, including through the expansion of our cooperation in high-tech products. As very promising areas, we mentioned energy, oil and gas, transport infrastructure, civil aviation, machine building, computer and telecommunication technologies, and the halal industry. We support the early convening of 13th meeting of the Russian-Indonesia Joint Commission on Trade, Economic and Technical Cooperation, and we strongly supported the negotiations which are being launched between Indonesia and the Eurasian Economic Union on the creation of the free trade area. We agreed to expand our links in the area of education, and I can assure you that all the problems which are being experienced by the students who study in Russia, not only from Indonesia, from many other countries, they would be resolved as we move to normalize situation with coronavirus infection in countries of origin and, of course, in the Russian Federation. We would welcome, as soon as the epidemiological situation permits, to resume the practice of Days of Indonesian Culture in Russia, and will be assisting the Embassy of Indonesia in Moscow in all possible way. We also would like to promote cooperation between scientific communities of the two countries, cooperation between the regions of Russia and Indonesia, and the cooperation between our two foreign ministries, including the training facilities of my ministry, Diplomatic Academy, and Institute of Education and Training of Indonesian friends. We, as you witnessed, signed plan of consultations between our two ministries for the next 2 years, which certainly indicates the intention to deepen coordination and to make it more specific. Yeah, of course, we discussed at length the cooperation in fighting the new coronavirus infection. The positions are basically the same. We are convinced, both Russia and Indonesia, that vaccines must be accessible for the entire international community, and we support respective initiatives of the United Nations, of the World Health Organization. We confirmed our readiness to closely cooperate with Indonesia also in bilateral context, including the possibility not only of supplying vaccines, but also to discuss localization of their production on Indonesian soil. We support foreign policy of Jakarta, which is based on respect for international law. This is what Russia believes should be done by all countries. And certainly, as I said, we'll continue coordinate in various international settings, including the United Nations, its specialized bodies. In very practical terms, we discussed today such topical area of international agenda as international cybersecurity. We're developing bilateral document, Russian-Indonesian agreement on cooperation in cybersecurity area. We also coordinate closely in discussing this topic on the agenda of ASEAN Regional Security Forum and in the United Nations, where earlier this year an important consensus was reached to launch effective intergovernmental negotiations to try to develop an international agreement, international convention on the rules of responsible behavior of each country in the area of international information security, and another document which was agreed to be subject to negotiations in the United Nations is a convention to fight cybercrime, criminal activities in cyberspace. We discussed specific regional situations. First of all, the problems in the Middle East and North Africa, with emphasis on the Palestinian-Israeli conflict, which we believe must be resolved on the basis of existing Security Council and General Assembly decisions, on the basis of the Arab Peace Initiative. We discussed the situation in and around Afghanistan and the situation in Myanmar. We reiterated our strong support for the ASEAN 5 principles, and in our contacts with Myanmar leaders, military leaders, we promote the position of ASEAN, which should be, in our view, considered as a basis for resolving this crisis and bringing the situation back to normalcy. We briefed our Indonesian friends about our messages which we sent to NAPIDO, basically in line with the principles developed by ASEAN. We discussed the situation in Asia Pacific. We underlined that there is no alternative to the principles of ASEAN centrality. We underlined unacceptability of the attempts, which we unfortunately witnessed, to create some parallel mechanisms in the region, to dig dividing lines with active participation of non-regional players who are not who don't intend actually to follow the principles which have been established by ASEAN and its dialogue partners during the last several decades. We are grateful to our Indonesian friends for having served as coordinator of Russia-ASEAN dialogue partner for the last 3 years. This year we commemorate 30th anniversary of the relations between Russia and ASEAN and 25th anniversary of launching the strategic dialogue with the association. Today, later this afternoon, we will hold a video conference with the ministers of foreign affairs of Russia and ASEAN, including the ways and means to promote our strategic partnership. I invited Retno Marsudi to come again to Russia, and I hope that this could be done not far from now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sergey. Terima kasih, teman-teman.